This week's episode of Landman showcased the show at its absolute best, but also at its absolute worst, as Cooper has put his entire family at risk. Let's talk about it. And as always, this will include spoilers, so if you have not seen Season 2, Episode 2, favorite this and come back to it later. Cooper. Oh my goodness, what a situation you have put everybody in now that you are in business with the cartel. Now look, I completely understand that he literally didn't have a single idea of who he was really getting into business with. But that is why you dot all of your I's and cross all of your T's. You have, especially when it comes to the oil business. And I'm not even in the oil business, and I know that you need to look over every single letter in any contract or negotiation to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The moment Cooper started talking about some company that he made a deal with out of Augusta to Tommy, I knew it was the cartel. It made complete sense, and it's the perfect way to bring them back around from last season after they tried to make a deal with Tommy, and even though they more than likely don't know that Cooper is Tommy's son, now they have an in with the oil business, and not only that, but an oil business that looks to be extremely rich in the areas that Cooper is working. I was a little bummed at the beginning of the episode when the Ariana and Cooper stuff went down. I understood it. I completely respected her decision, but I was a little bummed that now that I'm hearing that the money that Cooper could eventually be making could be tied to the cartel, I am siding with her. You don't want any part of that. We now have two major storylines going forward for the rest of the season. The first one being Cooper and the cartel, and the second one being MTEX and the offshore oil rig. First and foremost, I am so happy that Rebecca showed up in this episode. I knew she was coming at some point, but we didn't get her in episode 1, and she was incredible in the first season. Also, a very important part, and they were already showing that in this season so far, as she smelled blood in the water and put all of those lawyers in their place in that negotiation scene. The offshore oil rig story is going to be very interesting going forward with all of the money that's involved and all of the lawyer talk that's happening. But the biggest thing that I took away is Cammie's involvement and how she's kind of going to have to be walked through everything that's going on. We did see her going through Monty's office at the end of the episode where she's reading documents and files to try to understand everything that's going on. But something I caught on to at the very opening of the episode is that Tommy and everyone involved with her has to explain what is happening and kind of break things down a lot more than they would with someone like Monty. And I wonder how that's going to affect business things going forward. I have no doubt that she's going to educate herself and try to become familiar with everything she possibly can while also being stern just like she was in episode 1. But if she's not able to get to a point where she fully understands everything, is MTEX going to lose faith in her as CEO? Yeah, we're just going to move on from this one. Last thing I want to talk about is the entire sequence that happened with TL and the 3 generations of Norrises coming together at the very end of the episode. The scene between the 3 of them talking about sunsets is great. You can really feel the weight of the emotion, but the car scene between Tommy and Cooper, as a father of boys myself, that scene hit hard. I'm not saying the scene relates to everyone, but it was extremely impactful. And if that's something that they're going to dive more into through this season,